got me stranded like a branch in the wind. Tell me what you long for. Oh, I won't watch you.
Last episode, you watched WildChild sail her way into the Crab Cay anchorage in the Abacos of Bahamas.
Look at that, 12 over 7. WildChild doesn't even have full sails out, and we're going into the wind at 7 knots. You know, she's heeled over at like 30 degrees, but she's fine. She just goes. WildChild is so fast.
The lovely thing about sailing in the Bahamas is that it usually means sailing with the wind with no waves. There's no ocean swell in here. Eventually we pull into Crab Cay, get the hook set, and call it a day. We wake up to a calm boat, in calm conditions, in a calm anchorage.
Clearly, if you're going to be with Captain Lexi on WildChild, you have to know how to have fun and goof off and be silly. And singing nursery rhymes is a very important part of that. So, we put on the list today, Alina doesn't know Old MacDonald Had a Farm, E-I-E-I-O. For some reason, she doesn't know the song, so we have to teach her. So this is going to be our first concert together, and she's going to participate and sing with me, and we're going to do one verse of Old MacDonald Had a Cow. Ready? Let's do it. Come on, you got to sing with me. Come on, you got to do it. We're on camera now, you got to do it. Old MacDonald had a farm, E-I-E-I-O, and on that farm he had a cow, E-I-E-I-O, with a moo-moo here and a moo-moo there, here a moo, there a moo, everything has something to moo. So WildChild, like all boats, has a to-do list, and we keep a whiteboard with the things that need to be done. When you live on a boat, there's always something broken, or always something to be replaced or improved upon, or a minor repair to be made. We could lay around all day and watch TV, which is a lovely thing to do, but it gets boring. So, my new Jedi Knight, my newly trained Jedi Knight crew, Alina's now a Jedi Knight, guys, like, you watch out for her. She's going to help motivate me to start getting things done, and on the top of the list has been fix the spotlight, and that's been on the list for weeks, like probably for weeks. I've been ignoring doing that repair just because I know it's going to be a pain, and the running backstays are kind of in pretty rough condition. I already have the replacements for them. It doesn't matter replacing them before they break, and I think it's time, so we'll do the easy thing first and the hard thing second. So these are the running backstays, and you can see the condition of the rope is kind of in rough condition. Now, of course, all ropes on a boat are really a rope inside a rope, so this is an outside braid, and it's a very strong rope because it's inside Dyneema. It's an inside Dyneema core, which is still strong and in good shape, and then it's wrapped in wrapping, and then it's got the outside double braid on it. And I mean, but this rope is old and she's getting in rough shape, and you can see at all the attachment points. You gotta look over here now. So you can see like all the anchor points where it grabs in the cam cleat, it's starting to get rough. Where it goes around there, it's getting rough. So I don't want the running backstay to break when we're sailing and we really, really need it. I bought replacement running backstays all the way back in Nova Scotia, but I don't know how to splice an eye-loop into them, and the end of these running backstays are spliced with eye-loops, which would be the nice way to do it, but I don't know how to splice an eye-loop with a Dyneema core. So we're just going to end up having to tie them on with rolling clove hitches. Okay. So The running backstay is actually a stainless steel aircraft cable going up to the mast. Down here it comes down to a buckle where it switches over to rope. Since we want to replace the ropes, we have to cut off the rigging tape that's sort of keeping it all protected. So we brought knives for that. Once we get them unwrapped, we'll get the old running backstays out, and then we're going to have to tie in new running backstays. Rigging tape, despite... When we were back in Nova Scotia, I bought replacement rope for the running backstays. It's this very expensive, heavy-duty, like 9,000 pound test, triple braid Dyneema core, super stuff. But the ends, I don't know if you can see the end. The ends are just sort of straight ends. You can see on the old line, it's been spliced. There's a beautiful eye splice that someone managed to pull off on it. As crew, Elena has to help with this stuff, and she's doing the starboard side running backstay. I'm teaching her how to roll the clove hitches. So it's not as pretty as an eye splice, but we just basically did two pairs of rolling clove hitches. It's enough that it'll hold, so the transfer of power goes through the center line around the shackle and then rounds off in the clove hitches. It's kind of bulky, like it's not like a nice... You don't have like a nice smooth effect, but the shackles themselves on the running backstays are generally kind of against the mast anyways. Like when the mast is to the side, this is sort of where the ropes hit it, so it doesn't hurt anything for it to hit on there. So then we just wrap the whole thing up in rigging tape, which is really just white electrical tape, just to protect it from the elements. But essentially, it's just rethreaded back through the same way that the old one was. So the force from the mast comes down, goes through the turn block, the cheek block, and then comes in the locking cam cleat. Sometimes when we need to, if we need to cinch them tighter for pressure, we can still throw them around the winch, use a winch handle to increase the pressure, but then we free up the winch, let it lock in the cam cleat, and then set it free. Ta-da! Ta-da! It was a hot day, so we decided to reward ourselves with a little swimming. And when you jump in the water, you might as well bring a scraper with you and work on the hull a little bit, just to knock something off the to-do list. One of the things that you have to do when you own a boat is you have to clean your hull. After time being in the water, you get growth on it, and if you let the growth get out of control, you'll start to have real problems. So most of the growth is usually in the first, 4 or 6 inches from the surface. So we're just running along with the scraper right now, scraping off as much as we can, like get it in the beginning before it gets too bad. To do further under the hull, we need our snorkel gear, and then to do the keel, we would need scuba gear. But most of your growth is on like the first 6 inches. If you can keep on top of that, don't let it overwhelm you. It'll help your boat tremendously. So I think it was like 8 weeks ago was the last time we scraped the hull. So it's time to do it again. Right? Are you doing it of your own free will? There we go. As she swallows a mouthful of water and half drowns to answer. But there you got it. Like, it is of her own free will. We're working together as a team and trading off. But, I mean, this is boat chores. This is the kind of stuff you do when you own a boat. You gotta clear that gunk off. I didn't recognize them at first, but it's my friends Sky and Julie from the Cape Canaveral Yacht Club. So my friends Sky and Julie from Cape Canaveral are in the boat in the anchorage with us in Crab Cay, and they came over to visit, or Sky came over to visit yesterday, and one of the things that she mentioned was that they broke their jib halyard and they need help to either rethread it or re-pull it or whatever. They need help to climb the mast. So of course I volunteered to help. WildChild has a bosun's chair and a rappelling harness. So they're loading up in the dinghy to come pick me up and drive me over to their boat. We'll have a look at what needs to be done and then we'll see what we can do to help them. It's a universal law of sailing that sailors help sailors. That's the rule. Sailors always help sailors. If you're out there and you're watching this and you're a sailor and you see another sailor that needs help, you help them. Here comes my ride!
I climb on board their boat and I have a look up their mast to start inspecting the damage. Let's see what we can do about it. The thing about climbing a mast, even a short mast on a smaller boat, is that it is always dangerous. If your halyard line breaks while you're up there, you are probably going to die. And it's not worth dying over.
So, what's the name of your boat? Accolade. So I'm over on Accolade to try to have a look at their jib halyard, and you can see that it snapped actually really close to the top of the furler. It just snapped here, so the line is still there. Good news is the line does not go inside the mast. It's an outside halyard, and you can see it tangled up in their shrouds. So it's actually not hard to fix. I thought it would be an inside the mast halyard, and those are a giant pain in the ass to fix. But this shouldn't take long at all, so let's go aloft and see if we can help them.
I remembered to bring both the rappelling harness and the bosun's chair, but I forgot to change out of my skirt into a pair of shorts. So yep, I'm gonna climb the mast wearing a skirt. Those of you that have been following WildChild videos for any length of time, you know that on Captain Lexi's boat, 2 is 1 and 1 is none. So I'm getting them to attach the main halyard to the bosun's chair, and I need a backup line for the figure 8 on my rappelling harness. If one fails, then I have a backup. They don't have a spinnaker halyard, so I end up using the topping lift as my backup line. It's not very thick and it's not very strong, so I pray that I don't need it. You can see that I'm bracing myself so I don't swing around in the wind, and I'm using my knees to shimmy up the mast to lighten the load on the person on the winch. Nobody ever wants to climb a mast, but the captain has to be prepared to do it in the event of an emergency. And retrieving or repairing a broken halyard is a necessary repair. Although I'm nervous using the topping lift as my backup line, I've got a pretty good crew on the ground and I trust them. I'm in good hands. I was up there working on the repair for over an hour that day. It was pretty windy, the winds were up around 18 to 20 knots, and it was a little bit rolly in the anchorage, so I was swinging around up there. But eventually I was able to make the necessary repairs. Eventually I repaired their jib halyard so they could get back to sailing again. Two hours later, with victory declared on Accolade, we head back to WildChild because we're leaving to go sailing now for Green Turtle Key. Hey Sky and Julie, we love you girls and we miss you. We look forward to seeing you again soon.
I'm pretty sure in 4 months when you're going to make your internet debut.
Yeah. Or inReach, you have the email too, right?
Yeah.
So I'm gonna, once we go home, I'll print it out the inReach. I will use it when we cruise, so. But inReach, yeah, the inReach address will be in my